Let's go.
I am okay. This life is a bore, at least I've gotten waiting for. Are you ready, Crush your eye exam.
All right, just found out Kevin spent all his picture budget on picks from the Texas Pinball Festival. So we have no picks for the game we're going to review, but that's okay because most 95% of people listen to this on the podcast. So
Yeah.
I'm going to picture along in your mind as we do this. But we're going to review Demolition Man. It is from Williams, 1994. There were 7,000 of these produced, 7,019 to be exact, which makes sense because you do see a lot of Demo Mans out there. And it also helps to keep the price pretty reasonable. Pinside has that price range as $2,130 to $2,470. Would you say that's accurate, Kev? I mean, Pinside's always. I mean, it's hard to keep up to date.
I think that's pretty
change
good.
quickly.
If anything, I'd say that it might be a little low, actually, on the high end
Okay.
for like a really nice one.
Yeah, I haven't looked recently at a Demo Man,
But it seems pretty accurate to me.
this is also a wide body too,
Yeah.
to keep in mind, and it's got some unique things which we'll get into more. But it's got these handles on it in addition to flipper buttons.
Yeah, so when I mentioned to Steve earlier today that we were going to be reviewing this, he said the tournament version or the claw-enabled version. So I said we'd flip a coin, but we can talk about both.
We can't talk
versions.
tournament. People turn off podcasts if you talk tournament. So it's going to be the
That's
collector,
right.
the Pinside friendly collector version.
Well, they're already
especially-
tuned out by now anyway.
Especially
so.
ones that have never been played. Ideally, they just are very polished and look nice. Yeah, all right.
Just put a note in there.
You
for
threw
later.
me off.
I
All
did.
right,
There
so
you
the
go.
game is designed by Dennis Norman. Artwork is by Doug Watson and Linda Deal. So let's go around the horn. We'll start with Kevin. Usually likes to kick it off, so we'll start with Kevin, myself, and then Steve. And we'll cue you in. The first category we're going to talk about is art. But what's our we haven't even got into the rating system yet. We're just going to talk generally about the art.
yeah.
So kick it off, Kev.
Art is man.
Is
when I think
it?
of this game, I think of the translate art, right? And then three giant heads, you know. And it's kind of like, well, that's not very good. But then you look at the side of the cabinet, and it's got Demolition Man really big, and it's kind of monochrome, and there's like a naked Sylvester Stallone
Surprised you didn't lead with that.
creeping into the side.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you like that on your pinball machines, that's there. But the playfield, I think, is pretty good. It's not great. It's basic geometric shapes is what I think of, and circles and triangles and things like that, and lots of reds, blues, and blacks. Not the game's high point, I would say, as far as art is concerned, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the playfield artwork is basically the same as T2. It's the same style
yeah.
that it's done in. Exactly, kind of like that kind of functionality versus drawing like a picture on the playfield. Because I don't even know, are there any like characters on it? It's just kind of like you said, geometric shapes, like showing kind of the path of the shots. So I would say very functional, but forgettable. There's nothing about that game that I think draws you in with the art. From the back glass, as Kevin mentioned, to the side cabinet, which you got naked Sylvester Stallone, to the kind of geometric shape. Very, very basic, nothing special playfield. Is it bad? I would lean more bad towards even just okay and gets the job done. This is maybe sort of the real low point of the game is the artwork on it, which I think keeps the price down. Not only that, but it's Demo Man, which is not a brilliant movie by any way, shape, or form. But also the art's not that great, and I think collectors look at things like that and they're like, if you're a high-end collector, right, you got to have the best of the best. I think they consider that low.
They're like, do I want this in my game room? Steve, I know how much you love art and how much it comes into your pinball playing life.
Exactly.
What do you think?
That's why this is the perfect game for me because since I'm not paying attention to the art, it just melds right away. But yeah, the Demolition Man art just is what comes to my mind is those huge obtrusive heads on the back of them. And that's just all I think of when I think of Demolition Man. And everything else is just, okay, here is the path to the shots, and here's where you make the shots and combos, because this is a flow game, so I'm going to show you what you're going to do to flow. I mean, that's a different section of the review. But really, that's all it's doing is just showing, okay, here's a game, play it. We have three heads up here for some reason. At least Phoenix's eyes are different colors, right? I think, right? Didn't they do that?
I think so,
I think
yeah.
they did that. So they kept that canon in there. At least they made that effort. But, I mean, other than that, it's less than functional because, that's all it needs to do. It's just, Really? I mean, what art would they have up there?
They need a Taco Bell on there. They need a Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And
Put
the
a
three
Taco Bell.
seashells, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I would see that. Taco Bell 3 seashells, which is not even in the game. No, man. Is it? No, it's not.
I don't think so.
No.
No. Couldn't even like maybe make the three seashells the pop uppers or something. No, couldn't do that.
No.
So
There's a mod
it's just
opportunity.
something.
There you go.
Yeah. There
Diesel
you
mods,
go.
get on it.
Right, but other than that, it's functional and that's it. It's just basically, let's shoot some shots, and blow stuff up.
That's a Demo Man in a nutshell from the art
Right.
perspective. Nick, why don't you kick it off for sound?
So sound is not memorable, but the sound is solid in the game. That's all I think of. Yeah. I mean, it's like I get a kick out of it every time when that starts going off. What is that? It's like is it the second multi-ball?
Yeah,
Where
that's
it's
the music.
like, and who is that?
Yeah.
Wesley Snipes yelling?
Mhm. Yeah, that's Wesley Snipes' character is shooting, with his whatever gun he had.
Oh, so he's going kind of crazy.
And then,
Okay.
and then just repeat the ad, just repeat, just that. Yeah.
It's funny. It's
Yeah.
unintentionally funny. I think. I don't know intentionally, but whatever. It's funny.
It works.
Yeah, that sounds fun in the game.
Uh-huh.
It's not one of my favorite games. It's not terribly catchy. It's not terribly memorable, but it's not bad at all.
It's got call-outs from the actual cast, right?
And this is just for Fugo. Gets the job done.
There you go.
That's the tagline. There you go.
We should just
It's the laziest review thing. I'm just like, gets the job done. Moving on.
we should just go down the list and do every machine and just say it gets the job done. Next. Yeah. So, Steve, what do you think of the sound on Demo Man?
Oh, now we're separating sound and music because I like, my jackpot music is awesome.
It's all in one. We're mashing it all together.
You get that. Once you get that done, I like that. I like that one a lot. But
Was that the
other than
accordion?
just massive
Yeah.
explosions and combos, and the AgMag is pretty good. When you shoot the AgMag shot, and then all those different call outs come out that are from the movie. That I guess you can't hear some of the cursing you're supposed to do in it unless you have the cursing mod.
Yeah.
Like, good cursing software in it, but then that's good. But other than that, the jackpot music is the best song in the game. So I want to like play my song. That's the song I want to hear. I want to hear that song for as long as possible because that means I'm making supers. So that's what I want to hear.
Yeah, I agree. It's got its high points. Not the best sound package in a machine, but it's I'd say above average.
I mean, it's like you think of Williams. Williams has some really good sound package, and that game doesn't stack up with some of the best of the best.
Yeah,
but certainly not bad.
right. Agreed.
Would that be like an equivalent, like say a victim of the license? I guess to see how Star Wars is hampered because of the license. Do you think that's the version?
I don't know.
licensing.
I like
Like
Congo. I like the sound and the music in Congo. So Congo came out like 1 year
Yeah.
later, I think, maybe 95 versus 94, and
That's
so Congo's not a
true.
great movie, right? Like maybe people say Demo Man's better, but Congo I think has better sound package for sure.
Boss.
Yeah, hippos. Well, Tim Curry saves the game. I mean, he saved Congo and the game, and then he saved the Shadow and the game, both games. Tim Curry for the win. So
You want good sound? Get Tim Curry in your pinball machine.
All right, so toys. The toy in the game is the claw.
yeah,
Or, there's not just the claw, it's the grips, too. The grip can be considered a toy because it's not something that is found on any other pinball machine.
You know what the toy in the game is? The Matchbox car.
Oh,
That's the actual toy in the game.
Well,
that is the toy. A toy, literally, that you don't ever want to hit ever.
The thing you never want to shoot.
all right.
No, that I've derailed everything. Continue.
Yeah, I was going to go in a different direction, but I'm going to, slow it down. And the claw, I don't... A lot of times I don't like things that slow down the action in it, and the claw's sort of useless. It gives you a chance to select something. I can live without it, in other words. The grips are kind of cool. I play with the grips, and for those of you who've never played this game or don't know, instead of the flipper buttons, there's these actual kind of like grips that come up from the apron of the machine. You can just grab them, almost like, how would you describe it, Kev?
Kind of like gun handle grips, but like up on top.
And you can use
instead of
that to
underneath.
flip.
Yeah.
You can actually really move the game around because now you're like gripping the game itself, right? So shaking, moving the game. it adds a different dimension to it, and I think, and Steve, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you actually get more points if you use the gun grips.
Yes, you do. You get an extra you get a million combo. Like every combo you get during bonus is a million for your bonus.
Okay.
If you use a trigger for it, that's another million. So your bonus is number of combos, number of trigger combos, and then number of claws. So someone who does not use the triggers at all will get that initial bonus for number of combos, say 20. Okay, they'll get 20 million, but they won't get the other 20 million for using the triggers, which can be a real difference when you're carrying a multiplier, because that all gets multiplied.
So do you use the gun triggers or the regular just flippers?
I use the regular flippers and try to cheat the triggers. Like, okay. I'll shoot with the left button toward the computer, and before it goes in the hole, try to flip the trigger to see if it'll count it.
That sounds exhausting.
And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. So I end up getting maybe like half of them. Before I get used to using the triggers. But so that's how I try to cheat it that way. But during multi-ball, no triggers, because there's no combos in multi-ball, so those don't count. So if your multi-ball starts, no triggers. You don't need to do any triggers.
Good to know. So Attack is asking you, safe to say the claws and grapple gets the job done? I don't even know. It's not. It doesn't need to do a job. That's the thing. It doesn't have a real function in my mind.
It's one job, and it's to light the locks. That's
super
it. It's
gimmicky.
One job. That's one job.
I won't derail this. I actually like the what is it? The glove in Johnny Mnemonic, and here's why.
Wow.
I know this is weird.
Wow.
Hot take.
Or at least I don't hate it. But Johnny Mnemonic is such a fast game that I love when it goes to the glove, because I can catch my breath. And now Demo Man is as fast as got flow, but I don't need to stop at any time, really.
The other thing about Johnny is the glove. There's actually some strategy involved in it too. When it's not in competitive play.
Yeah.
When it's competitive play, it's always the same, I think. But if you watch, it'll actually show you what's in the grid, and that changes all the times, and that
there's more to it. It's
factors
more engaging.
into how you want to play the game.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll talk about Johnny Mnemonic one of these days. But okay, toys. Everyone else wanna?
Steve, any thoughts on the toys?
The claw has one job, is to light my locks. So unless there's software that's preventing that, then its job is to light my modes for demolition time. But it provides a bit of a breather, but not enough. You only get like a 10-second timer where you have to move it over, and make sure you move it over in the right place, and don't make a mistake and have it be too short or the wrong way, or when you hit the button, it's, oh wait, I didn't select that. Oh yes, you did. You just weren't over far enough. You drop it in the wrong hole.
That's what I don't like about that toy. I think it's cool. Like, I like things that physically interact with the ball like that. But when you think you have it lined up and then it goes into a different one, it's like, all right, forget this garbage.
Forget it. Yeah. Claw disabled.
Disabled. There's a reason why they disable it in tournaments.
Right.
While we're on that, I guess we can. Well, we'll get into that in rules. Let's talk DMD and lighting. Steve, why don't you kick us off with the DMD and lighting?
Should I say it? It gets the job done. No.
Yes. Yeah, there we go.
There you go. Next.
Because it does. I mean, what do you want to say about it? It's just you shoot the shots and tell you how many combos you made. Sure, it tries to get stylish when you have a lot of combos in a row, which I like that. Like, there's two stages of combo animations. There's a standard one, and then when you get like 6 or 7 in a row, it does like sort of move. Sort of get into it that way. You want to keep that going. But other than that, it's just showing a lot of points until you get the multi-ball, and then it's the same graphic with every jackpot, and then it's the same super graphic. It's a lot of words up there. It's a lot. It's just a lot of numbers and words that show up. Other than that's cool, and Phoenix, but that's it. I mean, it's getting the job done, and its job is to show a lot of text and stuff and numbers and points. That's what it's doing.
Thanks for embracing that, Steve.
I think Steve nailed it there.
Well, there's a lot of times, like sometimes you talk about a certain feature of a game, whether it's art, sound, toys, all the categories we're going through, and if it's outstanding, you want to talk about, or if it's really bad, you talk about. Other than that, it sort of just kind of fades in the background. You're like, it gets the job done.
Does the trick.
It's not bad. It's not great. Like, you're not talking. I was like, hey, Kevin, do you see the animation on Demo Man? I almost want to get that game just because the animations are so great. It's not that.
D&D all day, yeah.
But we're also not like, oh my God, what is that mess? So gets the job done.
Somewhere right in that happy medium.
Yep.
Gameplay.
Okay, now we can.
Yes.
This
Now-
is more than gets the
This is
job
where
done.
Steve
Now.
shines. Steve, this is what we called you in for, buddy. Talk us through the gameplay.
Now we have the A+ part. This
Yes.
is where you put the A next to the rating on this game, because flowing combos, speed, even claw disabled, more flow. I mean, it definitely and every multi-ball strategy. Really, like for example, if you have your lock lit, but you want to save it for the second multi-ball before the first multi-ball. There's a little bit of give and take if you're playing against an opponent there, of a chess match of whether or not, my opponent took his multi-ball early, so I'm going to see if I can save it and take a risk and then activate my light locks during the second multi-ball. Because if I do that, I'll overtake him, So yeah, that's where this game really shines. So much flow. Especially if as long as you have flippers that are strong enough. I mean, as long as you have flippers that don't go halfway up the center ramp and then the reversal of fortune is straight down the middle, which can happen a lot of Demolition Man games. Not as bad for the right ramp. I mean, reversal doesn't really go down the middle a lot on that, but that left ramp can be a bear if it's just not strong enough to make it, and you're going to die because you are, and it's just gone. But other than that, yeah, definite gameplay A+ on there. It's why people playing it, for all those flowing combos that you can just hit just agmat, computer, ramp, agmat, computer, ramp, just over and over and over and over and keep making points that way and really come back on somebody who's had a good multi-ball. It allows that to happen.
Yeah, Dennis Norman did a great job in creating shots that you've got the flow, but they all just feel so good. I know when I hit a shot in Demo Man, it's a great feeling. To your point, a lot of times, I mean, the game just has to be set up right, and the flippers have to be strong, because a lot of Demo Mans that I play, there's always that one shot, and it comes down, it rejects, and it's too bad because you know how good it feels to hit those shots in that game, and that is without a doubt my favorite aspect of Demo Man. It's just the flow, but not just the fact that the flow, but just the feeling. All the shots feel really good in that game. I love that.
Yeah, I don't know if this is true or not, but I remember somebody saying that this game was originally designed as a narrow body game, and then they made it into a wide body game, which, and they added those two shots on the left.
Huh.
Because there is a whole section that you don't want to touch.
Yeah, it's like the pinball machine and then the wide body part.
Right. Like the whole Matchbox card,
That's
the retina scan area that you don't want to really. Once you get in there, you were out of control, and the game has decided to give you control again via that left kick out. So that's kind of what that is.
This has to be the most the wide body game with the most flow, right?
I would say so.
Yeah, and
I agree there.
It's and I don't know. It's fun when you're using those gun handles and you're just like locked into those ramps and you're just nailing them. It's great.
I think it's a wide body done right.
Yeah.
I don't generally like wide bodies, but this one makes sense. It works. It functions well. It's not a wide body just for the sake of being a wide body, I think. And like you said, there are some shots in there that you don't want to hit, you avoid, but for the most part, it just works.
And even when you can get some forgiveness where you shoot it through the ag mag and it lands in the multi-ball hole, that's always fun. If you can get a game, you can just bounce it off the left roll and it goes to the right and lands in the hole. That's really good. But even with those handles, a good thing to use the handles for is nudging the game. Like if you can hit the game from the right with the handle off the wall, and since it's like farther away from the tilt bob, you might not get a danger for that.
Let's move it into the rules a little bit and talking about the handles. You can get some so it's got buttons on the front to flip the flippers, but there's also the buttons for your thumbs, right?
Right. So that's where your secrets come in, right? So the buttons for the thumbs are really, if you hit both of them during multi-ball, you get a free regular jackpot. You can't use it for the super. So so you can strategize on how you want to use that secret. They call it the secret jackpot, but it really just spots you with jackpot. So what I like to do is start it, shoot the center, shoot the computer, use the buttons for the ramp in case I can't hit it. And then the super is right, there's the next one. So for the first multi-ball, it's 4 shots. It's agmag, computer, ramp, super. So you can't cheat the super. So I'll cheat the left ramp to get that out of play and then transfer it over to the left flipper and shoot the super. And for like the second multi-ball where all the shots are lit, try to save it to where I can use my cheat for the left, I guess not a left orbit, but for that really tight multi-ball start shot, you can save it for that get past that roadblock because that's usually the one I can't hit. And so but there are other secrets there too. I mean, there's you can use the buttons during AgMag to get a free AgMag award. That's where the cow shows up. There's a free there's free enhanced awards when you land in the multi-ball start hole when it's not lit. They can go from big points to really big points, and I think there's also a quick bonus at the end of Prison Break or one of the modes where Find Simon. You find Simon, you have the gun at his face, and you shoot you hit the triggers, you get a quick point bonus for that. You don't shoot him, but you get points for it. And you're not really going to know unless you know, because it's not like it tells you anything.
Yeah, but, that's when I had one of these on loan for a couple months, and that was one of the things I really appreciated about it. Once I started figuring out the secret rules and stuff, it's like it kind of took that next level of strategy during multi-ball. Like, when am I going to cash this in? What's the shot that I struggle the most with? I can use this to kind of bypass that and move on and keep progressing through the multi-ball, which I really, really appreciated. What do you think about the rules, Nick?
I like it. It's not the deepest game. It's pretty much combos and get into multi-ball, but it's fun. I always want to play this game. When I see it in a location and go to a collector's house, I'm always happy to play a few games on it. Do I stay there for an hour and play it? Not really, and we're sort of getting into Lastability, but it's fun. You got the satisfying shots. You're going to get a multi-ball or more, and it's a good game.
All right, so let's talk about Lastability. The wizard mode is not super tough to achieve in this game, so if that's one of those things where, I have a game in my collection, and once I get the wizard mode, I'm done with it, it's probably not going to stick around for a long time in your collection, but if it's a game you play, if you have a league and you host a league, it's a great game for that. I don't know. There's a reason why games are priced what they are, and we've kind of talked through the art and sound are okay. The rules are fun, but not super deep. The gameplay is great, and that's why people really like this game. I think the nice, smooth, flowing shots. Lastability probably not super great, but it gets the job done.
Yeah.
It gets the job. It gets the Lastability job done.
I don't think that makes sense. But I'm
Steve, what do you think about Lastability on this game? Would it stay in your collection for a long time, or what do you think?
Well, it has so far because I've owned it for a while. So and my claw still works. So but I always have the claw disabled anyway. But it's a very simple game, and the wizard mode doesn't even feel really wizardy. Because once you get to demolition time, it just all the shots are lit for points, and you can get more balls on the play field and get more points. It's a frenzy mode, really, and it can be over before you even know it, really, on that one. And then you're back to level 1 multi-ball and do it more for more points, and that's when your score just really explodes after you get past that first demolition time. Is because now your points are worth even more during multi-ball than they were in your first lap, so things start exploding. And I guess the only other major award is the demolition jackpot, which you get for completing all of the multi-balls. And if you get that, that's a huge cash in of hundreds of millions, depending on how many jackpots you got. But that's not a wizard mode, that's just a cash in for being awesome. So as far as Lastability, if you're looking for a deep game, this ain't it, but it's fun, and it's definitely constantly fun enough to be lastable. It's definitely a good party game. You can just shoot the combos and get the everybody.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
That's all about that.
All right, so it's time to go here with our rating. So let's run through the score key for folks who might not know. From 0 to 2 is a burn it. From 3 to 5 is an expensive nightlight. 6 to 8 is a solid game, and 9 to 10 is buy it. Nick, why don't you kick it off with your rating?
So I like Demo Man. I don't love it. I don't see myself ever owning it, but I like it. I have a fondness of it because, again, things I said, nice flow, satisfying shots. Always happy to play a game or two, but then I kind of move along. So this sort of fits into the solid game category. And I would put it right between a 6 and an 8, so we'll go 7. It's a 7. Good game. I think for the price point, certainly can recommend it to our viewers. I think often we talk about what game to get when you're trying to get your first game, your first DMD game, and you've got maybe a limited budget, and you're in that $2,000, $2,500 range, Demoman is definitely one that I would recommend to folks.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to put it at a 6. I think it's definitely a solid game. It's at the low end of the solid game category, but it's a huge bang for your buck game. So for the price it commands right now, it's hard to argue with the value you get out of a Demolition Man. If you just look at the playfield on that and what it would cost to build today, that'd be a $10,000 game all day in 2018. It's crazy to say, but it is just from a build standpoint. But yeah, I'm at a 6. Steve, where are you at?
I agree with the 7. I mean, but my caveat is, I mean, looking at the system, I bought it. So I mean,
Yeah.
so really that means I would have to put a 9 on it, but I wouldn't do that. I mean, I bought it when the market was low. I mean, I got it for like $1,200 with Judge Dredd. so that's kind of where I am in my perspective. So, so I agree with the 7. The gameplay really raises all the other aspects up to that, good level. The gameplay is that good where it raises all of the other levels up for me. So I would agree with the 7 there.
Nice.
Awesome.
There you have it. So that was, I just want to remark, so that game was chosen by our Patreon supporters, and we had I'm sorry, his name escapes me right now, but they asked for, last month they asked if we could do a quote-unquote B game, right? Mm-hmm. Demo Man's considered usually a B game. It's not an A game like
Medieval
Madness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so B game. So that's why we came up. So we let them vote on Demo Man, Johnny Mnemonic, I think Fishtails.
Yeah.
So there you go. Enjoy. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon. And this is my quick plug. If you want to get in and support the podcast, you can hop over to patreon.com/Buffalo Pinball. You can choose to donate whatever you want a month. But anybody donating $5 or more will get to vote on what game we review. You can also feel free to suggest the games that we review next month, and we'll do our best